Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I give you the Tata Curvv.ev and the Tata Curvv.ice. वैसे तो नाम नहीं है इसका ऐसा, but this is the petrol, diesel and GDI powered curve. For those of you who have a short attention span, let me summarize this car in 2 words: Desi Urus. Basically, this is Tata Motors' entry into the crowded C-segment SUV space, which is dominated by the Koreans like the Kia Seltos as well as the Hyundai Creta. And they actually call this an SUV coupe or a coupe SUV or however you want to put that. But this is actually a front-wheel drive car. Let's first start by looking at the Curvv.ev because this one is going to go on sale first, and I think the ICE version will follow after a month or so. In terms of the design, it is very similar to say the Punch.ev as well as the Nexon.ev. It just looks slightly bigger because obviously this is a bigger car. Now, in terms of the differentiation with the ICE version, some difference here, the way the bumper has been done, and obviously some difference here as well because you need grills in an ICE powered car for better breathing. Here no breathing is required, so obviously it's kind of closed. Meanwhile, this actually opens because the charging port is placed right here. However, that is the DRL, which is again having welcome and goodbye animations. But remember one thing, this is not a real car. This is actually a clay model. I kid you not, this is a clay model. If you look at it from here, you will realize that this is a clay model. In fact, this is white tape which has been done to replicate the DRLs of this car. So yeah, very nice way of actually designing a clay model which actually looks like a real car. Now this car is actually running on 17-inch wheels. Alloy wheel design is obviously very EV centric here because better aerodynamic efficiency is needed. You get 360-degree parking camera. So there will be a camera here and obviously indicator on the outside rear view mirrors. Door handles pop in and out. Again, that has been done for better aerodynamic efficiency. You get a massive panoramic sunroof as well. That is the shark fin antenna. And the main thing about this car is obviously, let me go back and show it to you, the coupe design. Yeah, SUV coupe SUV, however you want to put it. Length is almost 4.3 meters. But Tata Motors says that in spite of the fact that there's a sloping roof line, boot space is still quite good in this car. Now coming to the rear, obviously that is where it seems very different because yeah, the way the rear is actually kind of reminds me of the Tigor to a certain extent. And you get a reflector treatment here, full connected light bar, and there is no rear wiper washer here because I think the way the roof has been designed, sloping one, it will push out all the water in the rains. This panel kind of reminds you of the Urus to a certain extent, not much to be honest, and I think the design is something which is a love it or hate it. Do you like coupe SUVs? Anyways, this being the electric version obviously will have a battery, and the range is something which is expected to be better than the Nexon.ev. And now it's time to look at the ICE version of the Curvv, which looks awfully similar to the Harrier somehow because of the color scheme and obviously the design elements which are also kind of similar. It gets a different grille as well as a different bumper when compared to the EV version of the Curvv because the engine obviously needs to breathe. Light has been placed here, the continuous DRL treatment which has become so common across all Tata cars that the only way to differentiate this car is from the side because obviously it's a coupe SUV. Front wheel drive coupe SUV to be precise. Now this car is running on 18-inch wheels. The EV one which I showed you was running on 17-inch wheels, but I think you'll get the option of both wheels depending on the variant you opt for. Now this is not a clay model, which means this is a real car. Not really, because this is actually made of hard foam. Yeah, this is not a real car still. It's made of hard foam. Yeah, and I'll show you it has an interior as well, but oh yes, you can see half the interior, not complete. So yes, they're not really showing the interior, but you have some sketches which I'll show you later in this video. Again, door handles pop in and out, which is good. Ground clearance seems to be nice, and sloping roof line. It's a very different type of a design which people may or may not like. Now obviously this segment has grown in higher cars, like higher end cars like the BMW X6 as well as the Porsche Cayenne, but for the first time something mass market in a coupe SUV design has actually come, which should definitely work because it's a little different, but the competition in this segment is super duper tough. I don't know why they don't have a rear wiper washer. I think I've already mentioned it earlier in the video, but I feel that the ICE version will definitely outsell the EV version because the pricing will be more aggressive. Now there are going to be 3 engine options. Obviously the 1.2 liter petrol engine, which they already offer on a lot of other Tata cars, which produces 120 horsepower and 170 Newton meters of torque in the Ultros Racer. I think same output should be there here as well because of the weight of this vehicle. Meanwhile, they have the 1.5 diesel, which is like 115 horsepower and 260 Newton meters of torque. My personal pick would be that one, obviously. And finally, Tata Motors GDI engine will be debuting in this car, which is a 1.2 liter engine producing 125 horsepower and 225 Newton meters of torque. Yeah, direct injection, gasoline direct injection. The big thing is that there is good amount of torque output, which means that the engine will be refined, performance will be amazing, power will be good, and yeah, that is something which all of us have been waiting for. So that will be a game-changing thing for Tata Motors once the GDI engine comes, which will be coming after a month after the EV comes, I hope so. So as I see it, Obviously, it is the IC version, which is a lot more attractive. But what about the design aspect? How do they design the cars even though they look awfully similar at the front? Well, I'm going to take you a tour around Tata Motors Design Center. All the sketching happens here, and I think I can give my own input. I got a chance to try my hands on sketching the Curvv's interior.
What a design element.
Why don't you try, ma'am? Realizing how advanced the tools are today for designers. But first, let's talk a bit about the interiors of the Tata Curvv, which has a lot in common with other Tata cars like the illuminated Tata logo on the steering wheel, the large 12.3-inch infotainment screen, touch panel for HVAC controls, and a panoramic sunroof too. While I didn't get to see the interiors in real life, I saw sketches of it and also got to experience the cabin of the Curvv using a VR headset. This was super amazing and felt almost real. The designers also gave me some sketches to take away, and these obviously felt too concepty and far away from production. Once the sketching and design is done, then it goes down where clay modeling happens. This design facility is big enough to house 13 full-size clay models, which means Tata Motors can simultaneously work on the design of multiple future models. And thus, I can easily guess that the upcoming Sierra's design has been finalized already. Work is happening on one of the curves. It also happens with the machine right there. I then went to the CMF section, which basically stands for colors, materials, and finishes. With Tata Motors now doing different personas for its cars, this department has its hands full. I checked out the various materials and colors in the studio and realized it's a complex affair. So, that was a quick look at both these curves, electric as well as the no engine there, but yeah, ICE powered curve. The thing is that I will obviously be more inclined towards that car right there because nothing beats an internal combustion engine. But Tata Motors is obviously betting big on EVs. Different platform for this car, different platform for that car, yet both of them look very similar. And I just hope that GDI engine model comes really soon because that's something which will actually make a big transformation for Tata Motors because that was one aspect where they were weak in terms of the petrol powertrain. However, I personally love the diesel obviously. I also got a chance to walk through the whole building, seeing the various sections of Tata Motors Design Center, but due to confidential reasons, I wasn't allowed to film anything. All I can say is Tata Motors is taking design very seriously, and that certainly reflects in the visual appeal of their cars. By the way, Tata Motors gifted me a cool mug and a personalized Curvv scale model, both of which were designed here. So that was an insight into Tata Motors design, more specific to the Curvv. But the car that caught my attention is obviously this one, the Sierra. It looks absolutely stunning and it is going to go on sale as soon as next year. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That's the like button and also subscribe to the channel. And I'm going to leave you with some shots of this beautiful Tata Sierra.